Welcome to the weekly game drive with Basil and Sky. Today we are going to be going over two big, one huge show and then one that was very long, didn't have as many big stuff, but also interesting. The PlayStation 5 Future of Gaming presentation and the PC Game Show. There's a lot to go over, so this is going to be a long episode, which I think kind of makes up a little bit for the fact that we didn't have one last week, because we kind of knew that everything was happening this week.
Last week was like pretty sparse on news.
There was like nothing as far as game news goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to go over, so I guess we'll just buckle in and kind of dive into this thing. We're going to start with PlayStation 5's kind of show. We're going to go over all of the games, give our thoughts on them, and our thoughts on the show in general, how we kind of felt about it. Starting with Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to its third console generation.
For Final Fantasy 14 is coming, so that's an MMO that will have spanned 3 generations as well. But I think GTA is a more notable one, in that it's like not a live service game technically.
Yeah. It's weird though, because the whole presentation kind of confused me, because like if the system is backwards compatible, then isn't of course GTA is coming to it, you know?
Yeah, but I think they're saying they're like this is like a full on. They're giving it a PS5 like treatment, like they're going to use the tech to like help frame rates and stuff.
Yeah, I
I
get that.
feel like that's where they were going.
But is that worth throwing in your big reveal show?
No, it's also like I'm gonna criticize the show's start in general. The start was very weird. I was not super into the beginning because I thought we were going to be talking about how they're like, oh, we're gonna bring a bunch of the games from the PS4 onto the PS5, and I'm like, I thought you guys didn't care about that kind of thing. I thought you're Sony.
Now, I really hope this isn't the case, but there's like a part of me thinks that they're going to charge for the update for Grand Theft Auto 5.
Ugh.
Like, I don't know why I just get that feeling. Take-Two would be the company to do that with Sony. Be like, oh, you want the upgraded version, then you have to pay. But hopefully that's not the case. We
I
shall
hate
see.
that.
I just
I hate that.
I have a weird feeling about like that whole announcement. Maybe Rockstar just wanted to be in the show in some way, because they're like buddy buddy with Sony right now. So maybe they were like, we have nothing, which is weird. Why would you do Grand Theft Auto though? Why wouldn't you do Red?
Yeah,
Like you could have shown Red Dead and been like, yeah, this is gonna be super good looking on next gen.
because Red Dead isn't their best selling game of all time.
Yes, I get that. It's just I don't know.
GTA is something. Here's the thing: GTA is something that is synonymous with Rockstar. You want to talk about Rockstar, you'll talk about GTA.
This is true.
And I 100% see why they did it. Would I prefer to see Red Dead? Yes, I think Red Dead would have benefited a ton from a PS5 release. But
I mean, which it will probably be on PS5 because it's probably backwards compatible, maybe, possibly. They didn't talk about that at all.
Who knows?
But yeah, that's. I mean, I have nothing really to say. Like, who cares? GTA 5.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
It of course it's gonna be there.
It's about what you expect. But let's move on. They start the show with a good announcement. Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, which, by the way, is not a sequel.
No.
That's something important. It's technically an expansion, but a standalone. And I'm like, why are you being weird about this? Just say it's a new game.
Well, it's not a full new game in the sense, like it won't be as long and have as much content as the Spider-Man PS4. Comparison-wise, you could compare it to something like Uncharted: The Lost Legacy or Far Cry: New Dawn. It's like one of those type of there. It's not like or Dishonored: Death of the Outsider, like where it's not really a full new game. Or even Wolfenstein
like
did it.
mostly.
Wolfenstein: New Blood or whatever. Like
Okay.
it's its own purchase, but it's more of like a $40 budget game. I don't know if they're going to charge $60 or not. A Halo 3 ODST is another example. It's clear that they just want Spider-Man to be out there on launch. Something we'll get into, but this to me is it's the must-have launch game or whatever, and which was kind of interesting because most of these games that we saw didn't have a release date or weren't coming out at launch.
Yeah, in fact, one of the ones we'll talk about towards the end of the Sony conference isn't even coming till 2022.
Yeah, which a lot of this is interesting to me because I did not see the show stealing game, like the launch title. Where I didn't see their Zelda Breath of the Wild game where you see this,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is the game to buy the console with. And I guess Spider-Man is kind of trying to be that, maybe, but because it's not a full game, that kind of takes a little bit of steam out of it. Even though I'm super excited for it because I loved Spider-Man PS4 and I really like what they're doing with Miles Morales. And
Yeah.
considering he has a lot of different powers than Peter Parker, it could be very interesting. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what we got there.
Considering he's like, I know there's a lot of different Spider-Men, but Miles is probably up there for me.
Yeah, it's really
Just
him
because
and Peter.
he's cool. He's got his identity that's very different from most of the other Spider-Men
Yes.
and Spider-Man. But I'm really excited, and they played him up in Spider-Man PS4, and I liked him there too. So I'm really excited. I knew we were when we got another Spider-Man game from Insomniac, we were going to probably get something with Miles.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's getting his own game, but hearing this weird talk of how it's more of a like mini game along the lines of like I don't want oh not mini, but like it's along the lines of a as you said Lost Legacy or a Far Cry New Dawn. I'm a little like that takes the wind out of its sails a bit for me. I'm
Yeah.
like what? Why are you doing that and not just giving him his full game like he deserves? Why is he getting this weird like offshoot?
So what I imagine, and this is complete speculation with no basis in reality, but I imagine that this is going to set up the Spider-Man 2, which will be like a co-op with Miles Morales and Peter Parker.
That would be trippy, and I think I'd like it. But
Maybe. I mean, maybe, maybe not.
they could just tell a story with two characters in Spider-Man 2. Get it? Two characters.
Oh man, that's clever there. I didn't even think about that. It's not like Halo 2 or a lot of other games have done that before.
Just stop it.
I was going to say The Last
Stop.
of Us 2, but we're not going to talk about
Who
that today.
cares?
All right. So moving on, I guess we'll just go to Project Athia.
Project Athia was the new Square Enix game that they said was in development.
Is it Final Fantasy 16?
No, it is not.
Because like I heard something about that, or like it started out as a Final Fantasy game and then they changed it.
I don't believe it is. I mean, there's so little we know about it in the first place that I have no idea what it is besides what they showed us. And even then, the trailer was very vague. I was like, it looks cool. As a Square Enix game will look, it is very good looking for a project. But again, to quote someone else who was watching this, and I saw his reaction to this, that's never coming out because Square Enix has a bad history right now of taking forever to release anything when it's a like new project.
Yeah.
I mean, Final Fantasy VII remake took God knows how long, and then 15 was a clusterfuck in itself. There's no other way to say that. I'm not. I'll be honest. This was the one announcement in the whole conference. I was like, honestly, I don't get anything out of it
Yeah.
because while it's like a new Square Enix title, I have absolutely no attachment to it because it has no basis in something I already know. It's only got the connection to a studio I kind of know, and at the same time, it's still labeled by project, meaning that it doesn't have a full name yet.
Yeah. I did think that was kind of funny. Like, I mean, I kind of don't like that at all when a game they reveal a game, they're like, this is Project This. And I'm like, what? Just tell us what the game's called. Like, you're showing us the game.
It could be they don't have a name yet because they don't have something that like fits with it.
Yeah.
To which I say, welp.
Project Fantasy game that's not Final
Project.
Fantasy.
You could just said a new working project.
You
Also,
know, just
notably,
call it Athia. Like, if the main character's name is Athia, just call it Athia. I don't care. Just.
or is the land called Athia?
I mean,
That's the
Miles
thing we don't
Morales
know.
is the name of that Spider-Man game because the main character's name is Miles Morales. There's nothing wrong with that.
I will say, I'm glad Square Enix has a new IP. That's exciting. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's definitely the weird one here that like
Yes.
I got nothing from its announcement
Yeah, same.
besides being like, oh wow, cool. I can't wait to maybe see this someday.
Well, with that, we can move to probably what I thought was the game of the show. As far in terms of seeing actual gameplay and actually looking like really impressive visually. And that was Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I'm not really like historically a Ratchet and Clank person. I've actually never played any of the games, but this trailer actually inspired me to buy the reboot on PlayStation. I'm going to give that a try now because I thought this looked really,
Ooh.
really cool.
Cool story about this one. So, if I recall correctly, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do some digging real quick. But I believe the developer for this one is once again Insomniac,
Yes.
which is very notable because I believe they haven't actually been developing Ratchet and Clank for a little while now.
Hmm.
I believe a different team was working on it for a while.
I don't know if
I
that's
might
right
be
because I
wrong
thought
though.
this game was in development for a while. I had heard rumors about them. They were working on Spider-Man alongside Ratchet and Clank moving forward.
Yeah, I might be wrong about that because I don't recall if I yeah, I'm sorry. It was no, apparently Insomniac has been doing them all this time. Well, regardless, there's been a trend where like a lot of people haven't felt Ratchet and Clank has been good since like the PS2 era because
Uh,
they had a bunch of games in the PS3 era, but like nothing really captured what people loved about it. And they also did a lot of weird stuff where they started retconning story things, and the gameplay was never quite as fun and adventure-y as it was in the first like 3 games. And that kind of started downhill with the fourth game, which was like an arena shooter.
huh.
It was weird. Yeah, it's weird. But Rift Apart looks really good.
Yeah.
I uh immediately the first thing I noticed is this is a game trying to take advantage of that technology.
Yeah. With all the dimensions and jumping from one to another
Yeah,
and
on top of being a cool set piece, it's like really exciting to like watch it as you jump between multiple different like planets and timelines, I guess. Like and
kind of made me think of BioShock Infinite.
yeah, except like high paced and not like Rudy Tooty about itself.
Yeah,
If you
like
get what I mean
it's
by that.
instead of being like all somber and broody and stuff, it's more like goofy and fun.
Whoa!
What a is it the female Ratchet? I mean, who knows?
I actually I felt that was pretty weird and funny at the same time because they retconned. He was supposed to have there was like a female of his race at one point in the second game, and
Mm.
they retconned her to not exist.
Oh
It's
wow.
really weird. Yeah,
Well,
it's weird. I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, I thought it looked really impressive. It looks like a fun, like it looks like a game where you're like, this is kind of just showing off what the console's capable of, while also being fun and colorful. And like, obviously, it's got that broad appeal, you know. Like, be like, oh, the mom comes in to buy the PlayStation 5, and they're like, this is the game for
Yeah,
the kids, Ratchet and Clank. But also, you can play it too because it's not like Insomniac games, in my experience, like if you are just fun to play, like Spider-Man
yeah.
or what's that one on the Xbox? I actually
Sunset
like
Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive. Those games are just like the movement and everything is really fun. And I think they continue that with Ratchet and Clank, or it looks like they're going to.
I think you're gonna like it. The fact that you're gonna give the remake, by the way, is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I've
It's
actually already started it.
yeah.
And we'll get into that when we get into what we're playing. But at the very end. But yeah, I'm really excited for Ratchet and Clank. I thought it was my favorite game shown of this whole presentation. But yeah, it looks good.
I I felt a lot of like nostalgia wash over me. This is something real quick that you'll probably notice it as you play through the remake. But what's cool is a lot of the enemies and locations they showed or that like you saw, those are from previous games. The sand sharks are an enemy type in the first game, which I got like heavy nostalgia. I was like, oh dude, the sand sharks.
Well, using the dimension stuff, I think is cool because it gives them the opportunity to like pull whatever they want from whatever.
It's also the opportunity to pull characters that are no longer with the series, which is a really cool opportunity. Like they actually end the trailer on when Clank sees like this dystopian like society, he's like, "We failed." You can actually see the main antagonist of the third game. He has a statue there, and Nefarious was also considered probably the best antagonist the series has
Mm,
had. So it was like really hyped to see that he's coming back too.
yeah, yeah, really cool stuff.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna like when I eventually get my PlayStation 5, I will be getting that game with it to give that a good old run through. I mean, Insomniac, like I said, they just make fun games. They make games that capture the scale and like epicness, whatever, of like having these awesome moments, but also being just enjoyable gameplay, which is hard to kind of hit. Because I think a lot of the
yeah,
time with stuff, you either go for one thing like Uncharted, where it's like you have these awesome set pieces, but the gameplay is kind of like, it's okay. And then you go the other way where it's like with games that are more gameplay focused, like Doom, you don't really have the set pieces, but the gameplay itself is so fun that you don't need that kind of stuff, you know? But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, there's something. They started the show with two very recognizable, we had two very recognizable and easy to understand why people are excited for like things in those two, and then we had another weird one where we had Stray that I don't
Yes.
know what that is.
Yeah, Stray, about a cat in a robot
Yeah,
world.
that's all I got.
Yeah, I
Like
don't really have much to say. I mean, I liked the aesthetic. Look cool.
the aesthetic is cool. I think a game about an animal in a robot society is very interesting. I didn't know we were going to be reversing the game that they ended off on, but we did. You get what I mean by that?
I do get what you mean by that. But we'll get to that later.
It's it's cute.
Yeah,
I'll have to see. I need real gameplay to actually have any opinion. To be honest, it's one of those things where cool art style. Now show me what it's actually about.
yeah. So I guess then the next one is Returnal, the worst name for a video game in the history of the world.
Yeah, too bad the game looks pretty cool, or at least I think it looks
I think
pretty
it looks
cool. All
fine.
things
Made me
considered.
think of Mass Effect.
But I definitely agree with you on that.
I just hate
I
that
think
name.
Returnal has a really dumb name, but I like what they're going for.
No, it's whatever. Life's annoying. Okay, so we were talking about Stray, Returnal. We were talking about Returnal. Do you have anything else to say about Returnal?
Did you hear anything I said about it?
I can't remember.
I was saying that I like this. Besides its name being really bad, I actually because that's where you started to go out. Was when you said that. I think its name is bad, but otherwise I like the conceptual idea. I liked what I saw. I kind of enjoyed the kind of bullet hell shooter kind of thing it had going on.
Yeah.
Like whenever we saw like things attacking, they were just covering the screen, and I was like, "That's interesting." I also like where they're going with their kind of story. It sounds like it's almost going to be like a live die repeat kind of thing, which I was like, "This could be really entertaining."
Yeah, except there were two games with that same gimmick in this showcase.
Well, they play it up in completely different ways,
Yes.
so
Yeah, we'll see how they do it. I think a lot of it obviously comes in the execution. But yeah, I thought it looked fine. It was another one of the games though, like well, and we'll see this a lot, but I will maintain that I don't think really any game in this entire show looked next gen, except maybe
yeah.
Ratchet and Clank. And that being said, though, I kind of think that's just how games are going to be moving forward because I think that the Xbox and the PlayStation 4 just kind of hit a point with looks where it's like, what's next gen anymore other than how the game feels, which I think is going to be the bigger difference. With like 60 FPS and like low latency and stuff. But yeah, it looks fine. I just don't like the title, but that's just me. Do you want to move to Destruction All Stars?
I have take it away, boss.
So I thought it looked like maybe a Rocket League type game, and it's the type of game that I did not like the art style of the characters at all, but I do think it could be fun to play, maybe like with like split screen and stuff. But that remains to be seen. But other than that, I have nothing else to say.
I got like a vague. I got like a. Do you remember Friday Night Combat
No,
at all? Do you
no,
remember that game? I got like a vague Friday Night Combat vibe, but I also like got this like, oh, it's an esports game kind of like vibe too.
yeah,
I wasn't like super into it. I kind of just tuned out through that whole thing. I was like, uh huh,
yeah, for sure.
sure. I mean, I don't know. It's just it wasn't an announcement for me, so I definitely won't say it's bad looking or anything like that. It's just isn't for me. I
Yeah,
don't think I was really feeling it.
yeah.
Um, on the flip side, though, do you want to just move on to the next one? Because the next one I have a lot to say
Oh, you
because I'm
do?
actually very excited. Yes,
Okay. Sackboy.
Sackboy, a big adventure. So I'm actually super excited. I'm someone who really liked Little Big Planet 1, 2, and I never played 3, but I like Little Big Planet quite a bit. And seeing Sackboy get his own like adventure is really really cool. And I vaguely believe they're gonna let you customize your character when you do this like 4 player co-op like adventuring. I think that's what they were kind of alluding to, that you're still going to get to customize your Sackboy as you want, and I am 100% into that. Uh, I saw platforming and I was excited. That's like all I can say is I'm like I like platformers and I'm glad to see another one, especially featuring a character who I know and I do associate with Sony.
Oh well, there you go. So yeah, I'm glad that you're more positive. I will say I do like good platformers, and graphically it looked solid. I like the art style. That being said, I think the main character leaves a lot to be desired. Like what a ugly.
Have you never seen
I
Little Big Planet
have,
before?
I have, and I've never liked Sackboy as a character. I mean, the name, the look, Sackboy. Like
Oh,
you see Sonic, you
I
see
like it.
Mario, you see like these other mascots, and you're like, oh, those look like, or Ratchet and Clank, and you're like, those look like fun, quirky characters. Yeah, Sackboy. I guess it's better than Knackboy,
It's better than Knack in general, baby.
but yeah, I mean, I have nothing really to say about it. Looks fun.
I mean, if it has character customization, just like Little Big Planet did, I'm gonna have a ton of fun just with that alone.
Yeah,
So then we move on to this one. Now, when I said it, you probably thought I was like super pumped up. I'm excited in a different way.
gotcha.
Oddworld Soulstorm is the strangest announcement that they could have made, because that is a series that I was pretty much assuming was dead.
Uh-huh.
Oddworld is like, it hasn't had like, there's been a lot of different games. There was like Stranger's Wrath, which was like a shooter slash a cowboy game. The game's good, but like it was a little And then there were a couple different like Oddworld games that talked about this guy, the guy that's in Soulstorm, Abe. He's the main character. He's been since like a while, but basically it's all about his people trying to escape like captivity at the hands of this like evil corporation. And the original game is really good, and I'm very interested because this looks like it's going back to that. I
Yeah.
was like, it's a new Oddworld game in the way that Oddworld began, and I find that incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of attachment to the Oddworld franchise. I'm just gonna say that right away. I don't personally have that kind of like super hype that I'm sure anyone that likes Oddworld did. I'm sure they flew out of their seat in excitement.
Yeah.
I'm excited though. This is cool. This is a really interesting part of like PlayStation history and just the gaming history, because this game has a lot of like, it's recognizable. Like I'm sure you've heard of
I
Oddworld, at
have.
least like in
The
passing.
character, I recognize the character even though I didn't really know what it was. Like I've seen that character before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have much to say about this. I thought it looked like a fun game, kind of like a unique art style, cool like 2D or 2.5D adventure game. Yeah, I mean I don't really have anything else to say. Like looks fine. It's not anything I'm like over the moon for, but looks cool.
Uh, Next up, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits.
I thought this looked actually pretty solid. I thought the animation was really nice. It was really like good looking game, and I thought it looked like it had some fun like adventure game mechanics.
I got a real Leica vibe from like the way that the character looked.
Yeah,
I like the aesthetic. I think it looks cool. I want to see it in action, like more so with like given dedicated time to let me see it in action.
yes,
Besides just what the trailer was cutting, but what I saw was cool. And I also like the Pikmin vibe I got from the little guys
yeah,
and how they kind of help out the main character.
yeah. I definitely liked the art direction of it. It's very like Pixar-ish, Leica-ish, and I kind of enjoyed that. The people who made it were like they used to be animators, and you could kind of tell like the animation was pretty well done.
Yeah, I'm definitely like super interested. I'd like to see more. It was one of the ones, the announcements. I'm like, this is cool. I like that we're getting these different types of art styles, which is funny because the next thing we'll talk about, I have the complete polar opposite opinion of.
Yeah,
Uh, but I like Kenna. I want to see more. That's about as far as I can say. I don't know what type of game it quite is yet, though. That might be my only complaint.
yeah.
Is this is something that's like happening a lot lately, is where I don't feel like what the game is being properly like portrayed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, let's get this next one over with because I hate it.
Jesus Christ.
So, Goodbye Volcano High made me want to die.
I have many negative things to say, and
All I have are negative
even
thoughts.
it's not even why you think I have a negative reason, probably. Like, ah.
The art style of this game and the whatever the whole concept of it of high school dinosaur furries, anime furries, dinosaur high school. It's like they took everything and mushed it together and created this Frankenstein's monster of cringe that made me want to just like I wanted to boycott PlayStation for putting this on their show.
Okay, now I'm not gonna go that far, buddy. But all right. So there's another game that did something similar to this already. That was called Lost in the or A Night in the Woods, not Lost in the Woods, A Night in the Woods, and it talked about stuff like because it was about a cat person who came back from they came back from college. I'm actually gonna look it up real quick, but while I describe it, it was essentially like a coming of age story for someone who kind of didn't have an opportunity, or it's like them trying to find their place in the world, and it was really interesting. I get the vibe that this is what they were going for, but the problem is I hate the art style. All right. I'm sorry to the artists who worked on this game. I'm very sorry. I don't mean to tear down people who make art
Yeah.
because I know there's a lot. By the way, Basil, I'm posting it. This is what A Night in the Woods' art style looked like. Much better.
Oh yeah, that's way
Much
better.
more cartoony, and it still dealt with a lot of like really heavy talk and conversations. And
Yeah.
I really liked it. The problem I have though is Goodbye Volcano High. I don't know what it is. I don't get it. Its art style is very unappealing. The characters look very strange, even for an anthropomorphic style.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was also thinking, this is A Night in the Woods, but they're trying to do it in their own way. And I am immediately like, there's another game that we'll talk about when I'll bring it up probably during the part where we talk about PC Gamer, but like there's other games that do these exact same things, and I like them infinitely more because their art style isn't jarring.
Yes.
You know what? Its story could be incredible, but its art style is just it needs some work. And unfortunately, I feel bad saying that.
I'm sure that there are people who this appeals to, but I can say for a fact that I don't want to meet those people.
Yeah, I think you can. There's a great comment out there that I think you can do anthropomorphic animals well, and this is not it.
Yeah, we've seen other stuff do it well. Ratchet and Clank. Here you go. That's another example.
Yeah,
Or like Zootopia, the movie. Like, there's things that do anthropomorphic animals just fine. There's things like this that shouldn't exist and should be burned to a crisp.
all right, well, let's move on from talking about it. So, goodbye, Volcano High.
Son of a bitch.
Let's talk about Ghostwire. We finally
Ooh,
got to see it.
ooh, spooky.
Um, what'd you think of Ghostwire?
Honestly, I don't know what to think. It seems like two different games put together, if I'm going to be totally honest. Like, it seems like we have a magic kung fu game, first person shooter kung fu magic game, and then a horror game that were like smushed together in this. I don't know what to think. Like,
Yep, that's Mikami.
I didn't have a bad impression, so to speak. Like, I thought it looked interesting, you know? And I think that's kind of where it ends with me. Like, I I need to see more, and I would like to try a demo of it.
I feel like this trailer wasn't cut very well.
Yeah.
That's my problem. Is I feel like this trailer did not give me room to breathe. I like the aesthetic. I will say that. I really like the way that their
Yeah.
ghosts slash like supernatural things are designed. It's got a very like pulp like cult kind of like following kind of look to it because like I got real like interesting Slender vibes from some of the enemies with their pale like their expressionless nothing face
Yeah.
and they're in like suits and stuff. And if this is, they could take it in a direction where everything that occurs in Ghostwire Tokyo could be like tied back to the public and their perception of like horror things.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting idea to in many ways.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, the problem, like you said, I feel like it's two genres meshed together, and I can't say if it works yet or not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess time will tell.
Yeah, this is one where I need it in my hands.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? This is a weird one.
Yeah.
Where like I need to play it.
Yeah, I got to get a feel for it to know whether or not it's got the gunchkin.
Next up is Jet the Far Shore. I have nothing.
Neither do I, so let's move on.
All right, I'm sorry, Jet. Oh, Godfall. We saw this twice now. We saw it again
Yes.
during the PC Gamer Show.
Which was an infinitely better showing because the show that we saw the PlayStation 5 thing made me despise the game. The music did not match what we were seeing. The game looked super janky. I think the PC Gamer Show showed it off better. I still think it looks a little bit janky, but it looked a lot more solid in the PC Game Show. But
Now that I also like that they told us a bit more about it,
yes,
and now we kind of get what's going on. Here's the thing: action games, very, very rare. We don't see action games quite like this as often. The last one I can think of that I played was either DMC or I played God of War.
yeah,
Something like this, like a grounded kind of like.
yeah, slasher.
Yeah, yeah. I like this genre, and that's why like Godfall. I was kind of like when I saw the PS5 reveal of it, I was like, this music sucks, and these animations look so bad. And then we got to see it a little more, and we got to see some of the other animations. By the way, the PS5 one doesn't show us any of that cool stuff
No,
that they
yeah, not
started
at
doing.
all. And it showed like the worst environments in the PS5 one. Like the environments looked a lot better on the Infinite or on the game show, PC game show.
When I saw I don't know what their classes are or whatever is dividing them, but when I saw the dashing slash thing where he started like going all over the place for a sec, I was like, whoa, wait, this gameplay could be fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I
we'll
was like,
see.
where was this?
Yeah, it's a launch title. I do get a feeling that though there wasn't a whole lot of thought put into it. Like, and I don't want to because I obviously don't know, but when a new console launches, you will always see these types of games that are like, oh, the idea isn't fleshed out, but they know that they're going to get a lot of sales because there's not a huge library on the new consoles.
And you think that's what Godfall's kind of.
I can kind of imagine Godfall's going to try to fill that niche of like, hey, I want to get the new multiplayer next gen game. What is there? Oh, well, Godfall. That's the only thing that there is. So
Yeah, I get that vibe too from it. I will say the fact that it's co-op is pretty cool.
yeah,
I'm interested to see where that goes. The problem I have, this will really, I'm going to talk about the PC Gamer reveal too a little bit with this, that I don't like how close-lipped they're being at the moment.
yeah,
Your game comes out this year.
I
It
know.
says holiday 2020. Why are you being so silent right now? You need to talk about your game more or I'm going to lose interest.
Yeah,
Like they're they're holding it so tight to their chest right now that I'm like,
which it means one of two things. It means either they just aren't ready to show more, or two, it just doesn't look that great. I don't know.
it says something when our first reveal of Godfall, I learned less than I learned about Outsiders
Yeah, or Outriders.
or Outriders, and that game had a similar way of its like marketing,
Yeah,
and yet I immediately learned way more in their first one.
yeah. Do you want to move on? I don't really have anything else to say about Godfall. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it looks fine.
yeah.
2K21, that
2K.
there you go. Gran Turismo 7. I do want to say something real quick about it. I was not impressed at all. I was like, this is the PS5 racing game. Like to me, it looked no better than like any racing game on the Xbox One or PS4. Like I don't know that nothing I saw on that showing. I was like, oh, that's a next gen racing game, which I know it's kind of like, what else can you do?
Which is funny because I kind of got the opposite vibe when we saw stuff for Dirt. I was like, Dirt looks good, yeah, it's
Yeah,
visually pretty, I guess. Like, the problem is all right, real talk. If we're gonna wait for a next gen racing game, we need to wait for the Forza team.
well,
to,
that's. I mean, and that's. I don't want to like knock down Gran Turismo too much, but I do feel like they've kind of lost the crown as the top racing. Like it used to be Gran Turismo was the premier racing games, but now it's like Forza's kind of taking that spot. Like, and or at least in my experience, the last few Forza games have really just knocked it out of the park.
after Horizon 4, I cannot see Gran Turismo being as good. I had too much. Even here's the thing: I'm someone who has a very I have a very like weird relationship with racing games. I prefer like arcadey fun ones like
Yeah,
Mario Kart and stuff. But Horizon 4 was like just so breathtaking.
yeah. I mean, well, it's still a little arcadey. Horizon. Whereas
Yeah.
there's Forza Motorsport, which is kind of like what you would compare to Gran Turismo more. And Forza Motorsport, I think, just looks better on a visual standard.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like if you saw the reveal trailer for the Xbox One X version of Forza Motorsport, I think that looks better than the PS5 Gran Turismo 7 reveal trailer, which is like
Mm.
I don't know. I guess just where else do you take cars? They look photorealistic now, so it's like whatever. They're metal,
Where
it's
do you
shiny.
take cars?
But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. It was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah. And then the next one, I also had the same kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was like Solar Ash.
Yeah, I was like, it reminds me a lot of Journey,
Yeah, although it
kind of
was
like that
made by the
atmospheric.
Hyperlight Drifter people.
What? What? Are you serious?
Yeah,
That's trippy to me. I mean, Hyper Light Drifter is a very pretty game, so interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. Other than that, like the thing I've learned about that developer is that they will take all the time in the world that they need.
yeah, which I
So
appreciate. I appreciate when a game, like an artistic game, takes a while to make because that means they're putting in real work into the art. Like you don't get, Ori in the Blind Forest or what games like that unless they take a while because they put so much work into the art. Or like a
absolutely,
lot of Nintendo's games and they just take a while because, it takes a while to make beautiful games.
yeah. I totally agree. It does take a while to make good looking games. I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna put down Solar Ash. I wasn't gonna put it down even before I learned the Hyper Light Drifter thing. I was just like, looks like a very atmospheric kind of journey stylized platformer, kind of like adventure.
You play it, it's like 4 hours long, you have a good time, and yeah.
You have a good time. You're like visuals pretty, haha. Game go pretty.
But let's move to Demon Souls. Demon Souls is a big boy.
I clapped.
Yeah, I mean,
I
okay,
mean,
let's be
I say
honest. We
that,
all
but I
knew it
did.
was coming. Like it's been leaked for a long time.
It has been constantly leaked, and then it just kept never happening. We were just like, "Where's the announcement? You guys, oh." I've been waiting for this. This is actually this is gonna surprise you. This was my favorite announcement of this whole show.
Oh, okay.
Uh, this was the one. The reason why I understand you don't like Souls. That's fine. This game is important because it's the reason that Souls games became popular. I'm not gonna say Dark Souls was the one that made it because Demon Souls was just as much of a Souls game
Demon
and
Souls had
just
to
as good.
walk so Dark Souls could run.
Yeah, exactly. That is a great way to put it. And some of the most iconic fights in Demon Souls, you can feel them reintegrated into other fights in Dark Souls and Bloodborne. There's a great example is in the trailer. You see actually like two of the most iconic bosses from that game. The Tower Knight, which is that massive hulking knight with a spear and shield, and you also see the Dragon God at the very end,
Yeah.
which God, they're cool. There's nothing about Demon Souls that wasn't cool. And the thing that was interesting is it's the reason a lot of the things that carried over into Dark Souls became what they were. Like the Moonlight Greatsword, while it didn't originate in Demon Souls, became like a staple for people because they thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
Oh god, Demon Souls is just so important to the Souls genre that it finally getting its remake. Mind you, I thought it was just gonna be a re-release. The fact that they're going full remake, God, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Now, would I have preferred a new Souls game? That's like I wanted like a futuristic kind of Souls game, kind of like the not the Purge. What's the game called? The Surge. Literally one letter. Yeah, something like the Surge, but actually made by the Souls team. I would have been like really into, considering I don't like the Surge very much.
Well, I think it is important to point out that Demon Souls is being made by
Blue Point, which those mad respect to Blue Point, they also did
Shadow of the Colossus, which was very good.
right. I trust
They
them.
did the
I
Crash
trust.
trilogy, I think. Might be.
Did they?
I thought so. Might be wrong about that, but I thought so.
Either way, Blue Point's already proven themselves in the
Yes,
past, so I have
absolutely.
absolutely no issue with them doing it. That's it. This is just an important announcement for me because of how important the Soul series has become.
And as somebody who's not like who just doesn't click with those types of games, I am happy that this exists for those who love these types of games. And they're always usually like as somebody once again, I don't really enjoy them. I can admit that they're very well made games.
Interesting enough, I'll actually say Demon Souls has the best. I've always felt its progression was one of my favorites because after the initial tutorial, you're actually allowed to go in 5 different directions via these like gates essentially.
Mm.
And the game's like, yeah, you're going to just have to get to the end of all 5 areas. But they're like, but you can do them in whatever order you want.
Yeah,
And I was like, I respect that. That's cool. I get to pick my own path, kinda.
for sure.
More so than a Dark Souls. I'll say this: Demon Souls is an easier game actually than Dark Souls 1 and 2. It's got a lot of ways to exploit it, and I almost am certain they're going to keep some of those in there.
Yeah,
But either way, great to have it finally happen. I'm glad we're not stuck in limbo about rumors anymore.
for sure. Speaking of rumored games and reveals, the next one was also rumored and was revealed. Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8 Village, or Resident Evil 8 Tige. Depends on how you.
I hate that. I hate that, Basil. That's terrible. Uh, is a game?
Yeah, I mean it's sequel to Resident Evil 7, which was really highly praised by fans. So I'm not really once
Funny
again
because
my type of game, but I'm glad it exists for those who want it.
I got talked down to by someone in my raid group the other day because I mentioned we were talking about the reveals, and one of them was like, "Oh, dude, I'm so excited for Resident Evil 8," and I'm like, and they're like, "Is anybody else?" And I'm like, "Not really. I don't like Resident Evil 7 much." And he's like, "How could you have such a terrible opinion?" And
Wow,
I'm like,
Sky,
because I have
you should be banned because of
I
that.
I felt Resident Evil 7 was an attempt to get back to like that actual kind of atmospheric, scary kind of thing that Resident Evil had. Guess what? Resident Evil has never been truly scary.
Mhm.
I said it. It's not.
Well,
Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 have always been pretty campy for the most part until the
I would
remake of
argue
2.
that Resident Evil 7 is kind of campy.
Well, Resident Evil 7 is scary
Yeah,
to a
but
degree.
it is, but it's like, 80s horror movies where they're like scary, but they're also campy.
Yeah, I guess. But like I don't know, I felt 7 was trying very hard to be more than what it is. At least that's the vibe I always got, and I never really fully enjoyed 7. I didn't it's mind you, it's not because of perspective shifting or anything like that. I just felt it wasn't like full it didn't capture what I liked about.
Heard it here first, folks. Sky thinks Resident Evil 7 is the worst game ever made.
I didn't say that. The worst game ever made is Resident Evil 6 in that franchise.
Actually, it's Demon Souls. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. Whatever. It's Resident Evil. It's back. They fixed Chris Redfield's design. Thank God. I'll probably still play it. I know I'm like saying I'm not excited about 8, but I'll probably play it
Yeah,
still.
I mean, I won't play it, but yeah, that's what it is.
Also, before we move on to the next one, which is a really cool one that I can't wait, that I think both of us were pretty like impressed by.
Yes.
But Resident Evil 8, the picture on every single trailer for it is the one guy with a beard smiling, and every time I see it, I'm just like, hey, what are you doing?
How's it going?
How's it going?
I mean,
All right, Deathloop,
yep, Arcane's next game looks good.
dude,
I really
looks
like the look of it.
it's really cool, and
And
all
it
right,
has a
so
way better title than Returnal.
yeah, and I'm gonna say I love its attitude, the way it's kind of playing itself up,
It kind
and
of
its
has
aesthetic.
well, yeah, it has like a Quentin Tarantino like aesthetic. Like that's kind of what I got from like the trailer or whatever with the like 70s poster for revealing the thing. Like I really liked the kind of goofy atmosphere, but it's also kind of serious and dark at the same time.
I also like that now we have more of the story, and we get the idea that there's essentially 2 people trying to kill each other. Well, one trying to kill one, and then the other just trying to find a way out of his loop. And I'm like, this is a cool plot. It's essentially Groundhog Day combined with like, oh, what's the one book or the one story about people that go hunting other people on an island? Do you know what I'm talking about though? It's like used in a lot of like movies and stuff.
Predator.
No. There's like a thing where it's like a bunch of like rich high society people like go hunting
Wasn't
people.
that like the movie or whatever, The Hunt?
Yeah, something like that. I don't. I'm sure someone's gonna remember. somewhere in the world what I'm talking about, but that's the vibe I got. It's like a bunch of like high society individuals just hunting for fun
Yeah.
because they can, and I was like, I'm in. This sounds super fun.
Yeah, and I thought the gunplay looked really good. I do think like visually it looks like they need to polish it a bit more from like a visual and animation standpoint. But I when did they say it was coming out? 2021. Um,
I believe so. Yeah.
I think they still have a while to polish the game up. I but Arcane makes very good gameplay and very cool worlds and with powers and stuff, and it looks like that's all carrying over into this. So I'm excited to see that, and it just looks like a fun time. And I really like how Arcane's leaning a little bit more into guns this time, because like with Dishonored and stuff, it was more about melee combat, and I think with Prey they showed that they can kind of stretch a little bit more into the shooty type combat, even though Prey's a little slower paced. And this looks like they're kind of notching up the pace a lot.
Yeah. I I'm 100% in. I was interested back when we first heard about it. I wanted to know more, and now that we know more, I'm like, Arcane's got it. I think they know exactly what they're doing this time around. I felt. I was gonna say I was like kind of hit or miss on Prey. I've been playing it a little bit finally, and I'm like still hit or miss on it. I'm not like 100% sure if I'm like
Yeah,
happy about it. But Deathloop looks like it's going for that. The things I think that the team strives best in that like their gameplay is really fun.
yeah.
Like when they let you go balls to the wall, just crazy with it, and that's exciting.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are both Bethesda published games, but they're actually going to be PlayStation exclusives for a period of time, which is very, very weird. Uh,
Yeah,
we'll see how
that is
that
weird.
goes. And apparently, the rumors it's 3 to 6 months is how long they'll be a timed exclusive, which is fine. I mean, if that's what the developers like, they needed that boost in money because I know that Evil Within 2 didn't sell well, and I know that Dishonored 2 didn't sell well, and Prey didn't sell well. So I guess maybe they just need that financial support. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I probably won't be getting a PlayStation 5 for like 6 months after it comes out anyway. So I don't know how that'll
I'll
go.
probably just wait anyway to
Like,
pick it up on the PC or something.
yeah, oh, it comes out on
No
PC
offense.
day one. So you can always
Oh,
just,
does it?
yes, it's just Xbox
All
that's
right.
that's
All right, then I literally feel no. I
yeah,
feel no
because
impact
you're a
by this.
PC boy, whereas I'm like,
Well, I'm like a mixed boy.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I am too. I have like some games on PC, but I prefer to play on console when I can because I don't like all the annoying issues that I have on PC constantly all the time because I'm cursed. But next game I actually thought looked really good was The Little Devil Inside. I thought it looked amazing. I loved the art style. I loved the kind of cutting between the old guy in his house and like the dude adventuring. I thought it looked very Zelda-ish, like Zelda-ish in a good way. This was one of the like the more smaller games that just really stuck out to me as like this looks like a fun, enjoyable single player story game with a cool aesthetic and a fun story.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I was very surprised by how interested I was as I watched the trailer. I'm not usually into like tinier games like this. I mean I like indie titles, but like this one stuck out to me. Like you said, for some reason I was like, I like this art style. I like this aesthetic. I like the little gameplay they showed was pretty cool. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's weird for me to like be as like interested as I was. Little Devil Inside was probably the one that I was like the most like, huh.
Yeah, it caught my attention and it had me hooked for the whole trailer and I was like this looks like a good game. Oh,
I
man.
think that's about all I can say on that.
Yeah. Moving on to one of the biggest games of the whole show.
Wait, I think these are out of order.
Yeah, they are
By
out
the
of
way,
order. I mean, we've been a little bit out of order already because of the way Sony uploaded them on their YouTube channel, which is what we're going off of. Well, we can go. Okay. We'll save the big one to go right before the hardware discussion. But let's just we'll talk about Hitman 3 next then. Hitman 3 looks like it's more story focused, which I think is cool. I know these new Hitman games are actually really popular, really well regarded. I tried one, didn't really get into it. I used to really be into Hitman, but I don't know, something about those games don't really click with me as much anymore. That being said, I do appreciate them, and like the fact that they kind of give you like tons of different ways to kill people is just kind of
Yeah,
funny. But yeah, so
absolutely.
that was kind of cool of them to show the game, and yeah, I thought it looked cool. Looks like they're gonna have some huge levels, like with a skyscraper and stuff, which was
It
cool.
looks like Hitman.
Yeah,
I have nothing wrong with that. I've seen a lot. I've watched a lot of streamers I like play Hitman. It's entertaining.
yeah,
That's all I gotta say. It's very entertaining. I think it lends itself well to what it is.
yes.
Next up, which one do you think? Which one do you think,
Well,
Basil?
let's go with Astro. I mean, the next two games I don't really care about, but
I care a little bit about one of them.
okay. Well, Astro's Playroom looks like a kind of a tech game. Like it's just going to show off what the PlayStation 5 can do in terms of controller haptics and all that stuff.
Interesting enough about that. This is the one I was actually more excited for. You're probably like, what? The reason,
I
well,
figured it was the one you were more excited for.
yeah, I'm excited because for one, Astrobot Rescue Mission was a really really good platformer. I've only gotten to play a little bit of it because I did pick up a PSVR in over the course of the summer. To be honest, I barely used it.
Yeah,
Mostly because it's just such a pain to set up.
for real, dude. Tell me about it. Like I'm trying to get through Half-Life Alex here, and it's a fun game, but man, is it exhausting to set this thing up and tear it down.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like about VR that I'm still a little hit or miss. But Astrobot Rescue Mission is legitimately one of the coolest experiences I've had with a platformer because of the fact that it's like you utilize VR in such a way to actually like dynamically interact with like your environment. Like you utilize your own sight to understand things for your character ahead of time,
Yeah,
to understand how you're playing. It's super good. I frankly was surprised that it was as good as it is. So I'm excited to see that the same team do something with more. The only problem is a lot of the appeal of that game was its VR capability and how it bent what I know about platformers.
yeah,
And as a result, I'm kind of like I'm excited because I like the team. I think that they're very good at what they do. The fact that their game was as good as it was says that like I trust them as a developer.
yeah.
But at the same time, like you said, this feels like a tech demo.
Yeah, I mean, usually when consoles launch, they have like a small game that shows off what the console can do, and I think that's kind of what this game is.
Yeah.
The next game,
All right,
this showed
time for the best
wait,
announcement. Bug
no,
snacks.
I had a whole segue. I was gonna say this game shows you the true power of the PlayStation 5, what it's capable of in visuals, what it's capable of with its SSD, bug snacks.
Bug snacks.
Anyways, it's just a
Now,
beautiful game graphically. Like it looks like it was made in 2001 or 2001 as people call it. I'm sorry, I don't want to rap too much like beat up the developer, but the game does not look visually good at all in my
well, I
opinion.
do you remember who made it?
Yeah, the people who made Octodad or yeah, Octodad,
Yeah,
but I think Octodad
which
looks better visually.
I think I'm not gonna make a big deal about its visual fidelity because at the end of the day, I know exactly where these people strive at,
Yeah.
and it's in their silly humor and their bizarre like it's just they're just a weird team. But like I don't know, I don't know why people would be upset about this announcement. I think it's cute and it's silly and it's them, and
Yeah.
that's one of those few things that like in this whole thing, I like when we have something that's just stupid
Yeah, I guess
and
so.
silly and fun in a way, and that's why I appreciated it. Will I buy it day one? Absolutely not. But I think it's adorable, and I'm not gonna be like, "Good job, you made this." Be disappointed.
I think the developer watched the movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and then made a game.
I love that though. That sounds exactly like something they would do.
But yeah, it looks, it is what it is. I
Uh,
would like to move on to the next one.
there's one more though.
What?
There's one more before what you're talking about.
What?
Yeah, if you look up, they forgot for some odd reason they put it past everything but
Oh,
Pragmata.
Pragmata. Or Death Stranding 2. What is it?
No, it's not because it's made by Capcom.
Ooh.
So Pragmata is it wasn't until I heard about the Capcom thing that I was like, what?
Yeah,
I thought it was. I thought they were. This is a strain type game or something like that. You know, they were gonna
a
be like
Strand type.
a strand. Yeah, my bad. And real talk, this trailer is really cool.
Yeah,
This game isn't coming out till 2022, so I'm going to forget about it.
yeah. It's unfortunate that it's so far away, but I did like the trailer a lot. It gave me like Death Stranding and Bioshock vibes, and I think it looked really cool. You had like a robot cat, which was weird.
Uh, a robot girl companion who helped make things for you
Yeah, like it
or
just
help.
an astronaut with like this kind of crazy tech. I don't know. I liked the trailer a lot. I thought it looked very interesting.
I think the thing that really made me be like, huh, I'm interested is when they end the trailer and we get to hear him speak and he's like, that,
It's freedom.
what's that? That's freedom. And I was like, oh, are we going for a message here, guys?
I liked that Capcom is kind of like they're building off their success with their releases and remakes and stuff, and digging into a new IP. Because we haven't really seen a whole lot of new IPs from Capcom. You know, they've got their Monster Hunters, they've got their Resident Evils, but this is something new, and I think that's really cool.
And it feels new. Like, I don't know what. I have no idea where they're going to go with this premise,
Yeah,
considering how very little they talked about it. But the only thing I'm sad about is that I feel like they've announced it too early.
yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like 2022 is a couple years away, you know?
Yeah, I mean, what I saw, I'm excited.
Yeah,
Problem, I'm going to be in the back of my head thinking I'm not going to see this game for another 2.5 years at least, probably.
yeah.
So it's really weird to think about that. I feel like there's a reason Capcom decided to like announce it now. Maybe they want to like drum up hype because this is going to be one of their biggest games they've ever made.
Yeah,
Who
maybe, I
knows?
mean, it's a new IP, so maybe they're just trying to get the word out there, you know, like, hey, we got a new thing coming, and be like, because it's harder to market a new IP in short time. Like, you need longer to kind of get it in the social sphere, get it in so people are talking about it. And that next time
Yeah,
when they show a gameplay trailer, it's not our first time seeing it. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is Pragmata, which I actually like that name. Instead of saying Project Pragmata would have been dumb, but just call it Pragmata. And I'm like, you know, that's kind of interesting,
I'm also going to say it looks like they're using the RE engine for it.
which is
At least
awesome. Like,
it's beautiful. This trailer was beautiful, by the way.
oh,
I
Devil May
don't think
Cry. That
I.
was another Capcom game. That was good.
Yeah, I'd like another. Can we get another Devil May
I
Cry?
think that's a few years away, but I'm glad they're doing new stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff.
I didn't want us to forget it because that was one of the ones that I felt was the most interesting.
Yes.
So, and now for the one that you wanted to talk about, the one that I have
Horizon
no opinion.
2, The Forbidden West. So I'm a fan of Horizon Zero Dawn. I very much enjoyed the gameplay. I thought the world was beautiful and fun to explore. The biggest issue for me was the story, but it looks like this is taking the story in a new and interesting direction. And my only issue with this presentation, no gameplay. It's just in-engine stuff, which looked beautiful, but you know, no gameplay. And two, no release date. So Horizon Zero Dawn came out in 2017. So my assumption is this is going to be like 2021, 2022. But if it's 2022, why didn't they, or if it's 2021, why didn't they show a release date? So it's possible it's 2023. So, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I was hoping it was going to be a launch game with the console because then I would have been a day one PS5 buyer. But because it isn't, and I have to wait longer to see this game, that kind of sucks. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It looks like they're kind of making a more interesting story. Looks like they're kind of having more diverse biomes and landscapes to explore. The new animals and dinosaurs looked really cool, and the bridge, Golden Gate Bridge that was destroyed. Like, if I'm able to just explore that bridge and like climb it and stuff, that's cool. So I'm excited for this game. I'm really excited for it. I thought it was probably my most anticipated game of the show. In the sense,
Man,
like,
you really like Horizon.
it's a big, huge AAA game that shows off what a console is capable of. And Ratchet and Clank looks really cool, but it's, you know, it's a little more cartoony, a little more kidsy, and this is a little more, you know, a little more adult. And I'm excited for it. It's kind of like Far Cry, and I like those type of open world games. So yeah,
Uh, I definitely have no opinion. I still have yet to even play Horizon Zero Dawn.
you should. It's a good
So
time.
I know everyone tells me I should, especially because when I worked at GameStop, it was like $10 for the complete
Oh
edition
my
at one point,
gosh,
and I
why didn't you do it? Why wouldn't you just give it a shot?
because I didn't have an interest.
Well, you get you
This is funny because when I saw Horizon Zero Dawn at E3 the first time, I was like, "This game looks hype," and then I never bought it.
yeah.
So
Well, that's
I don't know.
fair.
I'm not gonna slight it. Gorilla makes very pretty games, and I actually do like their previous franchise. I liked Killzone,
Oh, I did not like Killzone.
so I like Killzone because I thought its gunplay was very unique.
Unique is a
Um,
word for it.
well, say what you will, but I like Gorilla, and the one thing I will say is Gorilla pushes visual fidelity,
Yes,
like
they do.
hardcore. Even say what you will about Killzone, at the time, those games looked incredible for their
Yeah,
time. It was crazy how pretty Killzone 2 was when it came out.
yeah, I agree.
So, I this is a fine announcement. Although I will say, now that you mentioned that they announced it and they didn't give a release date, that means that it puts it within, potentially it could either be next year all the way to 2023.
I can't imagine it's
That's
next year because if it
crazy.
was next year, they would have said 2021.
That's crazy to me. Also, can we talk about how we're hearing people say 2021?
Yeah, I know it's weird. Like the idea that this crazy notion that we're gonna actually make it to 2021 and the world's not gonna end in 2020. That's crazy. But yeah, so now let's talk about the big schmeal. They revealed the PS5 hardware, and I don't really want to get way too much into router and modem memes, because yeah, it kind of looks like a router or a modem, but
What do
uh,
you mean? It actually looks more like a cool jacket.
yeah, I want to talk practically about it. So you have two editions. You have the digital edition and the regular edition with the disk drive. I think the digital edition looks way better. It doesn't have that weird disk drive sticking out on the side. Like I don't know why the disk drive just couldn't go in the middle of the black part, but that's neither here nor there. I don't I kind of like the look of the design. It's like futuristic, matches the
It's
controller.
wacky.
Yeah, I mean
I
the
think it's
the
wacky.
only thing, or go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. I think its design is fine. It's just I find it very jarring comparatively, I guess is the problem. It's not so much that the design itself is bad as more so I'm just like it's such a departure like from like everything else Sony's done with their consoles up to this point. Whereas like the Xbox Series X still stays within a certain like parameter way of staying in line with what the Xbox One or I'm sorry, the Xbox 360 and Xbox One
It's
look
the
like.
same design language as the Xbox One X and the Xbox One for the Xbox Series X. This is a completely different design language from the PS4 and the PS4 Pro.
And I feel like that's really weird to me. Will I be upset about having it? No, but I don't know. At least it's not that weird other thing that they thought that we
Yeah,
thought it looked like
yeah.
the demo kit. But like,
The toilet seat.
toilet seat. I mean, I don't hate it. I will say I agree with you. The thing is, I'm going to get the disc drive version because I like physical games. I'm a hipster, I guess.
Yeah, well, backwards compatible too. Like I was thinking about it. I want the digital version, but if I want to be able to play my PS4 games and they're backwards compatible, I got to get the disc version because I have disc PS4 games, so probably gonna have to do that.
I overall overall the main thing I gotta say is I like its design, but I will agree with you. I think the digital version is slick. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
looks much better,
yeah,
less
it's
wonky, more
symmetrical.
symmetrical.
Yep. But I want to say something that shocked me was how big it is. So I've seen some
It's
pictures that
huge.
they use the USB and the disk drive to measure it and compare it to the PS4 and the Xbox Series X. It is like way taller than the Xbox Series X. Like it's a big console, which is funny because a lot of people made fun of how big the Xbox Series X is, but compared to this, like it's actually kind of small. Like this thing is huge. It's bigger than any console Sony's ever made. Bigger than the PS5 or the PS3's big like launch console that was
I think
huge.
there's only one console that's bigger than it, and I think that's the uh the Xbox
The
original.
VCR, I don't think so. I don't
Wait,
even think
really?
it is because like if you compare it, or it's maybe a little bit because like the Xbox Series X is thicker, but it's not nearly as wide and it's not nearly as tall. And I think the Xbox One, the original launch edition, wasn't even quite as wide and tall as this.
I'm talking about the original, like Xbox original, like the
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. that thing was huge.
That thing was a chonker.
Yeah,
But like,
I was just surprised at how big
dude,
this thing is. Like it's a
maybe
big
maybe
boy.
maybe Sony really wants to, like, I mean, again, I will say all the things they want to push into it, like ray tracing and like all that, like you gotta go almost PC tower levels.
Yeah,
So
which is
I'm
what
I'm
Xbox did, and everybody was
yeah,
like,
and yet they got compact, like way
yeah,
more.
it's actually kind of shocking because usually Xboxes are a little bit bigger than PlayStations. Like the Xbox One was bigger than the PlayStation 4, but ever since the Xbox One X, which is more powerful than the PS4 Pro and smaller than the PS4 Pro, and now we're seeing the Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PS5 and it's smaller than the PS5. Like you got to give them a little bit of credit on design. I mean, even if the console itself kind of looks like a fridge, they put in size over just over like stylishness. It's going to look
Yeah,
like a box. This is going to look like a piece of modern art. And when this thing, like, there's a few things like because I like the design of the PlayStation 5, but when you flip it on its side and you have to have a stand to put it horizontal, which is very weird. And like my setup isn't gonna I have to put it horizontal. Like it's not gonna fit. There's nowhere to put it standing up. So I don't know. It's goofy. That's all I'll say. Like I'm glad that it's a unique design and that it doesn't look like a PlayStation 4. Like they're like, we want to do something futuristic. And I think that's cool.
yeah.
But I do think it's funny. And I'm happy that it looks the way it does. Like I'm happy it wasn't just a boring black like box.
Are you saying you don't like the fridge?
Well, no, I actually like the fridge because I think that's a striking design. Like when I say a black box, I mean a VCR. I'm glad it doesn't look
Oh,
like
okay.
every other console ever made. And that's one thing I like about the Xbox Series X is it looks like its own thing. Like there's no way you could get that confused for a different console. And this looks like its own thing. Except maybe you could get it confused for a router. I don't know. But no, I like it. I like it. I think it's cool. It's futuristic and unique. I definitely think that the one with the disk drive looks pregnant, but that's where we are.
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely think it's really weird too. I'm right there with you. So I I mean I'm okay with it for the most part. I don't really hate it, all things considered.
Yeah. So the show overall then, I thought that the show was a solid show. It showed off a lot of interesting games. It had a bunch of good reveals. My only issue with the show is we didn't have a extended gameplay of next gen game. So there wasn't the moments where you're like, this is what next gen is all about. Some people will say Ratchet and Clank. I don't think that really counts. I think you needed something like God of War Horizon or something to kind of be like, this is what next gen is. And I do think that sets up Microsoft to be like, oh, if Halo Infinite can be everything they want it to be or whatever, and they're launching with that game, and then they show it in their conference in July, and they're like, this is an extended gameplay. I think that gives them a little bit of room to kind of like control the narrative. And I think that was the only thing that was missing from the show because otherwise it had a ton of variety, a ton of exclusives, a ton of different types of games, a ton of big reveals for a lot of different people, which I think was great. But I do think it was lacking in the fact that they did not have the show stealing, the Uncharted, the God of War, or even Horizon gameplay from Horizon to show off what next gen is all about. And that was the only thing that disappointed me. But overall, I thought the show was solid. I'd give it like a B plus.
Yeah. I think it was a much real talk. I think this was a much better showing than the first thing we got from
Oh,
Microsoft. I think
absolutely.
this. I feel bad saying that because I still think Microsoft showed good things. It's just
Yeah. That being said, that show was never because like this to compare that to this show is a little disingenuous because this
yeah,
is to compare to the July show, which is Microsoft's E3 replacement. Whereas that thing they had earlier was just some smaller games they wanted to show off for those developers, which were gonna be like a real during the E3, and they decided to make the E3 showing more focused on first party. But I do agree that this is way better as a show than that show ever could be. One thing I do think that show slacked on, which this show excelled at, was looking professional. I really appreciated how professional this show looked, how clean all the footage was, the transitions. It was just very professional. Looked like they spent a lot of money on it, and it showed. And instead of having the video recording of the Inside Xbox show, where it was like the recordings and stuff in Phil Spencer's house was like very very low quality. But yeah,
I 100% agree. I think that this was clean, efficient, good, and there wasn't like many low points besides like there were. I never felt like I hated it, except for one
Yes,
moment.
but every time something came that was a little boring, they'd always follow it up with something more interesting. So you have your bug snacks and then Horizon, or you have your goodbye blah blah blah, and then you have Demon Souls. Like they always kind of bounce it out between the big stuff and the small stuff, which I appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, man. Sorry, I don't mean to yawn.
Yeah, no, we're
Uh,
both pretty tired.
yeah, but I overall definitely good. I was pretty happy with a lot of announcements. Maybe not all of them, but it be how it be.
It'd be how it be, and I think Sony did a very good job, and they enjoy a lot of props.
Now, however, we need to quickly run over our thoughts on another show.
So for the PC game show, we're just gonna kind of go over some highlights and what we thought of the show as a
There
whole.
was, yeah, just to preface, there's a lot that was like just they were like, here's the game, here's the game. They like opened up a box and just like opened it and it flew all over, and we are like, there's so many tones, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
what stuck out to you?
okay, well, I think we should start from the bottom and go to the top.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is, I'm sorry, beginning of the show to end of the show, and get our like points throughout it
Yeah. Okay.
that we liked. So at the beginning, there were surprisingly enough, the first announcement was not Persona 4 Golden. That I was like, wow. We got to see some Torchlight. Torchlight's a good game. That's it. That's all I gotta say on
Yeah,
that.
it looked good.
I mean, Torchlight it's a Diablo like, but they do have their own kind of like thing going, and I was like, all right, cool, Torchlight.
Yeah.
Then I would say yeah, Persona 4 Golden on PC is wild. It's weird, so strange to see it on PC considering how long the Persona series has been very much just been PlayStation ever since PS1, and now we have one of them on Steam, which also happened before we got any on Switch.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Okay. It's also out today. This is something that they did. A lot of these games had some kind of
Yeah.
like
That is something
attachment.
I appreciate about the show was that most of the games had either a demo or a beta or something out today, and I thought that was cool.
Or information that you could go to, or had, or maybe it was an update to a pre-existing game. I was like, this is cool
Yeah.
to like have like a constant stream. But yeah, Persona 4 Golden isn't just out; it's out today, and I was like, the fuck.
Yeah.
It's also, I saw its price tag already. It's $20.
Well, there you go.
So 100% go buy it, Basil, right now. Go play Persona 4. It's
I will
good.
definitely get down to not doing that. But
Ouch.
Elite Dangerous Odyssey looked kind of cool. I was hoping to see what it looked like on the planets. But I think that's cool of Elite Dangerous that it keeps like evolving and they're like, oh, we have space, and then they added like aliens or whatever, and then now they have
So
landing on
what you're
planets.
telling me is that it's becoming Star Citizen before Star Citizen is.
Star Citizen. Yes. Yep.
I mean, Elite Dangerous is a good game. It's got a big community. People like it.
Yeah.
I could see why. So
Yep.
they're doing a good job there. They don't have it in their trailer list, but we both saw it, and you were pretty receptive to it. New Blood's announcement, how they were talking about all the stuff for their
So I thought
pre-existing
that
games.
was the highlight of the whole show. One, I thought all the games looked really cool, and like there were a lot of retro shooters in that. And then I thought that the guy at the end was pretty funny. And then he's like, the names for the websites are fantastic. The one for Dusk was notfortnite.com. Like that's the best name for website in the world. Yeah, I really liked their show. It was very like irreverent. They're just like they didn't give a shit. And I thought that was great. Yeah, I thought it was just a fun time. And I thought the games looked very fun and cool. And I actually might try some of those out now. I mean, they're all PC games, so I'd have to do that. Which
100%. I will say, as someone who's followed some of their stuff, their games are very good too. It's not just looking good. A Medieval got a ton of love when it came out. They're very, very good games that inspire a lot of what people love from like retro shooters like Doom, like the original one. Their announcement was great. I both cringed and laughed because I was like, God, they're trying so hard. Bless their hearts.
They added some life
And
into the show. It added positive life because I thought that the main announcer guy was really annoying and that robot was really annoying, and like it just kept. There was so much fluff in the show
that it was like, have they just stuck to the trailers, it would have made the show like a half hour shorter.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that they had interviews with like some of the interviews were fine. I got a lot out of a few of them,
Yeah.
but like for the most part, no. Also, just neither here nor there. Kane from the guy who played Kane in the Command and Conquer series was there, which I thought was extremely exciting because I missed those games so
Yeah.
much. And by the way, something weird. I'm just gonna say he still looks like Kane. After all these years, he still looks the exact same. I was like, oh my god. um, but anyway, regarding like fun announcements, there was another retro shooter we can bundle in, Proteus. That was like it was like even more 2D than that one. I don't, or than those
Yeah.
shooters. It was like the one that you said reminded you of. Remember you said it reminded you of Republic Commando because of its like visor.
Oh yeah, yeah, that one actually looked pretty interesting. I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Retro shooters are something that like I really really like, and dude, Proteus looks really good.
Yeah.
So there's that. Have we passed anything else you want to talk about yet?
Mafia Definitive Edition looks good. I want to see gameplay, but I think that visually it looks, they showed some assets from it and stuff, and it just looks good. I liked what I saw.
Yeah, it just
Nothing
looks
about
good.
it looked rough or
Um,
anything.
didn't you say something about Project
Oh, I
Wingman?
was making a
You
joke
thought you
about
were
it
like,
because the name, I said
oh,
it
you
would
were
make a
making a
good
joke about
dating
its
sim.
name.
The name would, Project Wingman, where you play.
Oh, yeah,
If
you're
gave me an
absolutely
idea for a
right.
video game where you play as a wingman and you have to help a guy get a date. That would be hilarious.
That
Devolver
would be
Digital should make
hilarious.
that.
Also, I want to talk about Project Icarus, not Project Icarus, just Icarus, real quick. Not because I liked it, but because I just want to note that I really, really don't like the Daisy developer. Yes, I said it. I don't like Icarus. Doesn't look like anything new. I was so unimpressed and so like, all right, you made a space Daisy, or you made a space Rust.
Yeah, I was
You know
like,
what I mean?
whatever.
And like, the reason I also don't like that developer is, remember Daisy, after it left its cool phase when it was like an
Yeah,
Arma mod and it was unique and interesting. Once it got moved over to its own thing, it was such a
yeah.
mess. And like, I just, I don't know. I haven't been impressed with anything that developer has done since then, which is funny because the battle royale genre is some part influenced by
Yeah.
them. It's weird.
Anything else that kind of like Everspace? Oh
Everspace.
yeah, Everspace looked pretty good. Everspace 2.
Yeah, I was really liking its environments and stuff while they were flying around. I thought that it looked really really
Yeah,
really
nice
cool.
art style.
Very nice art style. I haven't played the first one, but it's very popular. So I'm excited to see more about that. There's like a couple games in here that I was like that we're rolling into now that I recall after seeing stuff. I was like, that looks cool. Um, this one's a bit weird. Blancos. I remember we didn't say a whole lot about it. I was the only one who said this looks kind of cool. I like it because it reminds me of growing up. Do you remember like how like they would sell these random weird mini figurines that like there were like hundreds and thousands of designs for
Yeah,
them for no reason? And like it emphasized how kids should collect them. I got that same
yeah.
vibe, and I got like a really fun nostalgic vibe from it because it reminded me of those
Do you know
days
what
as a
vibe I
kid
got?
when I would go into what?
Roblox.
Oh fuck, you're probably right. Oh no, Basil, don't do this. Don't don't ruin everything about this man's project. He cared so
Yeah,
much,
he
you could
did care a
tell.
lot about it, and it looks interesting. Yeah,
Cute.
cute, fun.
Yeah, yeah, it looks cute and fun. I just thought it was interesting. It connected back to something that like I don't know
Yeah,
is like deeply ingrained in my childhood memory.
yeah. I'm really tired right now, so that's why I don't sound like way too engaged. But I am listening to what you're saying. I
Don't
thought,
worry, don't worry. We're getting there.
yeah,
We're
I thought
almost done.
Trash Sailors looked interesting. Like I liked its art style, and it looked goofy, and
It reminded me a lot of We Need to Go Deeper, which is a like submarine piloting game that four people can play together,
Mhm.
and I got that vibe from it. I really liked what I saw. What they're gonna all play as, I don't
Yeah,
watch it
yeah.
entirely.
Another game where I was like, "Oh, that's great art style," was Among Trees, and then 2 seconds later, it was a survival game, and I was like, "Oh man."
Yeah, and you got
Yeah,
turned off
because
pretty
like
quickly because you're like,
I like the art style so much though, but like, come on,
I feel like the survival genre is bleeding into
it's
too much lately.
everywhere. There's just so
Like,
much, but I, it's the way it is, I guess.
yo, all right, so there's two Rogue Lords. I was interested,
Yeah,
but I as you said it, I hate the name.
it's
It's
so
bland. It's
generic. It
really
doesn't even like
boring.
if I heard the name and I didn't see the trailer, I would in no way imagine that that's what the game is. Like the Tim Burton
Yeah,
style,
like
like I would never have guessed that's what the game is. And I mean,
yeah,
it's not my type of game. It's turn-based, it's whatever, like it's everything that pushes me away from a game. I liked the art style a lot.
it's super weird. Very, very, that Tim Burton kind of like weird, unsettling kind of thing, and even the story is like very like
Yeah.
bizarre. And I was interested. I want to know more, but they should change their name because it's bad. Like it doesn't even speak anything. You could have said something like Rogue Horrors or something like that, and I would have been like,
But yeah, let me see. Anything else that kind of caught your eye?
oh, I want a meme. I
Okay.
want a meme on
Oh
Potionomics
no, not
real
that
quick.
game.
So Potionomics, I here's the thing. There's two games that I showed you one. Grifflands. Grifflands is made by Clay Entertainment, which those guys also made a lot of other really good games. They made the Shank games, which are like platforming action games that are like they're okay. Then they made Mark and the Ninja, which is a really good platformer. Then they made Oxygen Not Included, which is a really really fun like base
Mhm.
builder. And then they went on. They made Griftlands, which is like a roguelike card like card builder where you undergo two different forms. You do combat and then you do conversations, like arguments or like whatever you want to call them, debates. And that game is
Yeah.
fantastic. Grifflands is really good, by the way, but it's also an Epic Store exclusive. Haha.
I think a lot
Um,
of these games were Epic Store exclusives.
Yeah, well, the thing I'm going to bring up, though, the reason why I wanted to bring up that is because Potionomics is literally that, but then combined with another game called Reciteer, where you manage your own shop. Like, you're like a shop in an RPG game, essentially. And I was like, you combine two aspects, and then you ruined it because, once again, you did this bizarre thing with your art style where they decided to do 3D
Well, it kept
models.
switching between like 3D models and then kind of 2D and 2.5. Like there's like three different art styles.
Yeah,
And the 3D model stuff did not look good.
it felt unsettling and
It
uncanny.
made me think of
Like,
like those animated movie knockoffs, you know? Like they'd be like a Pixar knockoff movie and you'd be like this does not look good.
yeah, I felt very uncomfortable with it. I hated it, and yet, so when I showed you that like I showed you a screenshot from Grifflands, that game's art style is super
Yeah.
interesting, and like I really like how it's like a 2D like drawn artwork style, so it lets you like have this expressiveness that I don't feel like you can achieve easily in 3D, and yet. I just don't know how in the world that like Potionomics is like, yeah, look how good this looks, and I'm like, no, 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 back up,
Yeah, for sure.
you're you're too far. Let's see. I think the last like big thing that I like I was like, whoa, like the thing that I was like that looks cool. Metal Hellsinger
Yeah. Yeah.
was probably the last
Looks
big
a
for
little
me.
bit like Doom and
It's like a Doom combined with a rhythm
yeah,
game.
very interesting.
It's nothing I can think of. That's for sure. I Rhythm games are pretty rare nowadays. Like you don't see them often, but like we've had a lot of good ones lately. Like there was the Crypto the Necrodancer that was really good, and then they crossed over with Zelda for Hyrule for that one
Yeah,
game.
yeah. Yeah,
You know
I
which
know
one I'm
exactly
talking
what
about
you're
though.
talking about. I've been meaning to actually I want to get that game at some point. It's on the Switch, so
It's
definitely want to
really
try
good
it.
from what I've heard, and one of the people I follow actually his wife did some of the music for one of
Huh.
the bosses.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So, oh yeah, it's super cool. The game's really good, but like I like the idea of combining a shooter with a rhythm game. And the thing I started to notice is as the shots like were lining up with the beats, the thing I immediately was like, that's really cool, is you can hear how it works with the music. So like the beats line up with the current song as like kind of like a bass to it. It's really cool. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So I definitely think that that was one of the other strong ones. And after that, I can't think of anything that like really made me go like, this is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I think there was a lot of stuff. I do appreciate that the show showed a lot of stuff, but if I had to rate the show, I'd probably give it like a C. I thought they broke it up way too much with those skits, and they really just like hurt the pacing. I really wished it in the interviews kind of should have just come at the end after the show. Then you can go to the pre or the post show and watch the interviews with people talking about their games. I think that's how it should be. I thought that PlayStation's pacing was so much better, and I think a lot of studios or a lot of people can learn. I hope Xbox that learns from PlayStation show be like, okay, this is how you pace out a show, and this is how you make it look. I do think that the video footage and stuff of the PC Gamer show looked pretty good, like the production. You know, it was pretty
Yeah,
well produced. It was better produced than that Xbox show, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, it is what it is.
yeah.
I have a little bit of news just to talk about, and we'll get into this next week when we actually see the reveal. But there's a new Star Wars game was just announced, Star Wars Squadrons. Looks like it's a dogfighting Star Wars game. Looks like a good time. And we haven't seen any gameplay, of course, but I like the concept, and we'll talk about that next week because they have the reveal on Monday, so we'll be able to talk about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
anything else to say about the PC Game Show about that Star Wars thing?
Star Wars is exciting, and I just can't wait to see something about it.
Yeah, can't wait to see how EA screws this one up. Am I right?
Well, I'm gonna go hide under my desk now.
Anyways, last thing we're gonna get into real quick is what we're playing. I'll go first this time because I think you went first last time. I am playing Ratchet and Clank the reboot. I'm very much enjoying it. I'm about 3 or 4 levels into it. It's a very fun game, very charming. I like the meta humor of it. It's a lot of fun. I'm also playing Bioshock Infinite on the Switch. That's a lot of fun too. It actually works really well as a port on the Switch. I'm surprised at how well it works. But I'm gonna keep going because I'm playing even more games. I'm playing Destiny 2, the new season, which I've actually been enjoying, and I like what Destiny 2 is doing, what direction they're heading in.
Oh, you mean the fact that they're doing the same thing that every MMO slash live service is doing for some reason, and they're talking about how you're now going to be using the darkness?
Yeah, it's better than doing Destiny
Sorry,
3.
14 did that, and WoW did that. So,
Yeah, but they're doing it in a fun way because they actually have a fun game.
wow, that's dang, dude, that's
Shots
pretty
fired.
rude.
But yeah, so what are you playing?
I've been playing almost exclusively Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition now that it came out. I was actually given it as a gift, which was very kind of the person that did it. I'm not going to talk about that too much, but I've been playing it, and it's one of the best JRPGs I've ever played. I cannot sing praises enough. It's probably one of the single best, and I could even go so far as to say it's even a game I think you would like, Basil, because it is so irreverently not
Oh
JRPG
man,
in a lot of
that's
ways.
what.
Even down to its battle system not being turn based. It's like it's really fun, and it's got a very interesting in-depth story, and a lot of its characters are very, very memorable. And it doesn't have the thing that like Japanese games have a lot of, where it has this like very how do I put it? It doesn't have this very like anime
Yeah,
kind of feel. The thing about Xenoblade is it
I have
treats
to ask
itself
though.
very
Is it
seriously.
turn-based
Yeah.
combat?
No, I
Oh,
said
you
it is
did.
not. Essentially, what it is you are in an action scenario and your skills have cooldowns, but you have like 8 of them, and there's also positionals and stuff, so you have to actively move around to like get advantage of the battle
Ah,
system, stuff like that. The only time it becomes turn based are for these things called chain attacks, but chain attacks are really, really, really powerful because you essentially freeze time and let your party just do whatever they want for a little while. It's really, really cool. And then it's also one of the few JRPGs I've ever played with a mechanic that actually warns you before something happens that the boss is about to do this certain action on a party member.
Oh, that's pretty.
Like it gives you like a vision of the future. But what's cool is you can walk up to your party member and you can actually warn them, or you yourself, whoever you can also play, by the way, as all of the characters in the game. You can take control of them personally, and they all play completely differently. Um, but you can actually change the future, and it will shatter this little thing on the screen. It'll shatter and create a new
Oh,
future that you
that's
just
actually
made.
pretty interesting.
Oh, it's there's a reason I say it's probably one of my like favorite JRPGs I've ever played. It's also its story is very it takes itself pretty seriously. It doesn't joke around too much. And when it does, it's usually lighthearted in a way that the characters are actually interacting as friends or like getting along as people. But I will say within the first hour is one of the most gripping like hours of a JRPG once you figure out things are about to get really serious really fast. So I can't say enough. And it got a post game story. I love it. It's so good. I could spend so much. I've already put like 20 hours into it. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
We muscled it through this time, and we had a lot to talk about. There was so many things, and this is kind of the beginning because next week we're gonna have EA's junk to talk about. The week after that, I believe, is
Ugh.
we'll have Cyberpunk. Week after that, we'll have Ubisoft, and then we'll have Microsoft, and it's just it's gonna keep getting busier and busier until like August, in which things will slow down. But yeah, I'm really glad we finally know what the PlayStation 5 looks like. And I'm excited to see what we got next, you know?
Man, I didn't know Cousin Rudy's jacket became a console.
Yes, it did. We will see you guys next week, and we probably won't be taking another week off like we did, because I think from now on we'll have substantial news every week.
At least for the next couple, like at least for the next like month.
Months, yeah. I have, the rest of June and July for sure. But yeah, thanks for joining those who decided to listen in on the weekly game drive. I'm Basil.
And I'm Sky.
Peace out and have a good one.
Adios.